You might remember the story. A woman was killed. She's nearly sucked out of the airplane. Well, now 8 people on that flight are suing. They're claiming they suffered injuries, including hearing loss, post-traumatic stress disorder. Back in April, debris from the engine broke off, slammed into the passenger window while this plane is traveling at 32,000 feet. Their lawyer says his clients went through a near-death trauma that will impact them most likely the rest of their lives, and they will never likely fly again. Some of the passengers even say the horrific event ruined their marriages. Joining us to talk about this case, how strong it may or may not be, criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi. All right, I just laid it out there. Devastating impacts, relationships, marriages ruined. Solid argument or kind of a stretch?
No, this is a very standard post-traumatic stress disorder. You can imagine yourself, Mike, if you're flying in a plane and all of a sudden you're almost dead, someone's getting sucked out the window. This is going to have a negative impact upon even the strongest of the psychologically fit, if you will. And all we had to do was just listen to the account of those folks after the incident happened and the days afterwards. Some of them were barely able to even speak. So I think it's a very legitimate claim under the law, certainly.
Got it. So the question I asked is what attorneys for Southwest is going to ask. You know, marriages ruin relationships. We get it. It was a traumatic experience. But how are you going to prove that? How do you go about that on the side of the 8 people filing?
Well, the way that lawyers do it, like myself handling a civil case, is you basically bring out the facts through witnesses in that person's life to talk about, for example, with the marriage, that the marriage was intact, there wasn't any difficulties in the marriage. Then after this incident, which is not unusual, people who are under some serious psychological stress start emotionally emoting in ways that cripples the relationship. And then you get a psychologist who comes in and basically does testing, independent testing, to analyze whether or not the subjective statements of your witnesses that you put on in the family are supported by the objective testing. And like I said, I've seen catastrophic accident cases that I've handled, and this is not uncommon.
Got it. You look at the compensation. I'm sure folks wonder, what did Southwest give these folks for the experience they went through? I think it was $5,000, $1,000 credit toward airfare. Was that enough, or did they goof on that front?
Well, you know, listen, these airlines just don't seem to be able to get the PR branding strategy down right in my mind. I deal with this all the time with branding with clients who do stupid things that are actually insensitive. That's not anywhere near the kind of compensation these individuals are entitled to. They're entitled to pain and suffering, both physically and emotionally, not just now, but for the foreseeable future until these issues resolve. And in other cases where airlines have malfunctioned in some way and somebody's been killed, the settlements have been in the millions. And let's not forget, Mike, the most ultimate bottom line to Southwest, if they don't care so much about the injuries that these plaintiffs claim they've sustained, is reputational damage. They're going to settle this case.
Got it. Bob, thanks as always. Appreciate your expertise. We'll keep following that. Also following this.